Kimberley Kitching might be now dead and buried, but what happened to her should haunt Anthony Albanese right through until polling day. The one thing he refuses to do is the one thing he's demanded of everyone else faced with accusations of serious bullying, and that's to hold an inquiry. He was asked repeatedly about this today, and he repeatedly said it wasn't going to happen. Why? Because he claimed Kitching had never made a formal complaint.
There were no complaints put in any formal sense at all about issues. There was no complaint put in by Kimberley. I had a number of one-on-one meetings with Kimberley since I've been leader, and at no stage was any issues raised. There was no complaint made at any stage. Well, we know what went on. We know what went on, and there have been responses to it. There's only one suggestion that I have seen or heard about an inappropriate comment to Kimberley Kitching.
Now that's all just BS, and the opposition leader knows it. Kitching penned a 7-page formal letter about her treatment, her demotion, her exclusion from the influential Tactics Committee on unproven accusations of disloyalty, the constant sledging, all of it. But she didn't send the letter not wanting to damage the Labor Party that she loved. Instead, she went to see Labor's Deputy Leader Richard Marles, her faction's boss, to complain about her treatment by the Mean Girls, upset that she was dumped by the Tactics team and more. After all, she was on Labor's right, and Marles is the right's big man. He's also the bloke who wants you to elect him Deputy Prime Minister in a few weeks' time. After hiding from the media for well over a week, after a train wreck of an interview, Marles came out of his bunker today and said this.
At no point did Kimberley make a bullying complaint to me. At no point did she ask me to take action. She was obviously unhappy about the Senate Tactics Committee.
Sure, it's taken him 10 days to say that. And of course, the dead senator, the only other person in the room, isn't around to disagree. Kimberley Kitching certainly thought her meeting with Marles was a formal complaint. Why else would she have kept the letter and shown it to friends who've subsequently now shown it to journalists? As a loyal Laborite, she never wanted to publicly embarrass the party, so she never made a submission to the Kate Jenkins review of workplace behaviour and conduct at Parliament House. But she did, we're told, tell a workplace consultant appointed as a result of that review about the bullying she'd endured at the hands of Penny Wong. Bullying claims, of course, that Wong, Keneally and Katie Gallagher now all deny. So how do we know about all of this? Because her friend, the National Secretary of the Health Workers Union, Diana Asma, publicly said so on the weekend. Again, if that's not formal enough, I don't know what is. Today, the respected former ACTU President and former Labor MP Jenny George publicly called for a thorough, independent investigation. No self-respecting Labor person would put up with anything less, Jenny George said, in any other workplace. That George has broken cover here says a lot. A trade union luminary, voted one of Australia's national living treasures, and someone recognised for her service with an AO, that George has spoken out shows the depth of feeling Labor heavyweights like her and the rank and file have over this issue. But with the fear of retribution so strong, only the brave, like Asma and George, have gone public. It's too easy, said Jenny George, for bad behaviour to be rationalised as just part of the rough and tumble of politics. That, in fact, is exactly what Anthony Albanese was doing today, saying it was just part of the usual argy-bargy in the Labor Party. And according to Albanese, the Mean Girls aren't part of the problem. He thinks Keneally is actually part of the solution.
Do I have confidence in Penny Wong as Senate Leader? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. and Katie Gallagher and Christina Keneally are part of the solution. They're not part of the problem.
But that's not what the people in Fowler think, the seat she's now been parachuted into. Look at these campaign posters of Keneally, now defaced with the words bully. The opposition leader desperately wants this issue to go away. Of course he does. But it won't. And it's not right that it does. After all, Albanese is part of the Kitching saga. And to this day, he's taken the side of the mean girls against her. Here's the proof. When Albanese stripped Kitching of her front bench role as the Assistant Shadow Minister for Government Accountability, he then gave the upgraded Government Accountability job, you guessed it, straight to Christina Keneally. Even though Keneally was already the Shadow Minister for Home Affairs, the Shadow Minister for Immigration and Citizenship, and also the very busy Deputy Leader of the Opposition in the Senate. Reshuffling Kitching out of the Government Accountability gig, well, that's a big deal when you're in opposition, because keeping the government accountable, it's a profile builder. Perfect for someone like Kitching to make her mark. And if there are those who don't want her to shine, I tell you, it's a role you need to get her out of. Precisely what happened. This wasn't done by the mean girls. This was done by the man who wants to run this country. Anthony Albanese needs to answer why he stripped Kitching of the Government Accountability role, because it then set her up to be dumped from the Senate Tactics Committee, which is what happened a couple of months later. Rather than insisting there's nothing to see here, this portfolio change is something that only a leader can make. So it's up to the leader alone to explain it. Why Anthony Albanese? What were you told about Kitching to demote her? And by whom? You reshuffled her out of the spotlight. I want to know why. This is one you can't dodge. I've been in opposition. You and I both know leaders own their reshuffles.